Welcome everyone to the Australian Romance Readers Association Hangout with New York Times and USA Today bestselling author Gena Showalter. My name is Lemmy Minzes and I will be hosting the event today. Gena has always believed in love. An avid romance reader, she decided to try her hand at a story of her own and is now the author of sexy paranormal romances, including The Stone Prince, The Pleasure Slave, and Heart of the Dragon. She is also the author of Awaken Me Darkly, the first of the darkly seductive Alien Huntress series. Gena has sold 70,000 copies of her books by Harlequin Australia. Her latest release is Wicked Nights. Pretty cover. Which is a spin-off from her hugely successful Lords of the Underworld series. Gena, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm just going to introduce the participants and then ask everyone to ask their questions. All right, we have Amy. Hello, Amy.
Hi, morning. Well, not morning, but feels like morning.
We have Alison.
Hi, everyone.
We have Cindy.
Hello.
We have Danielle.
Hi.
And we also have Kate.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Gena.
Hi.
All right. Now, we might start with the first question from Amy. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I actually wrote them down so I didn't forget. How far ahead do you plan with the Lords of Underworld series? Do you usually have an idea of where you're going?
I don't really plan ahead at all. The secondary stories usually happen and unfold as I'm writing each book. So I find out basically when the readers do what's going to happen next.
Thanks, Amy. Alison, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. You've written Lord of the Vampires, which is the first in the Royal House of Shadow series. So I was wondering what the challenges were in contributing to a series as opposed to writing your own. And when you write the first book, how many of the rules for the series do you get to set?
Well, we kind of set the rules together, and the challenges were, they had their characters, and I couldn't deviate from what they were creating or what their vision was, because I didn't want to ruin their stories or impact their stories in a negative way. So the challenge was staying true to their characters who I didn't know as well as mine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Alison.
Thanks.
Over to you, Cindy.
Hi, Gena.
Hi.
Having read romance from a very young age and having my mother read romance, I've still had to find myself justifying why I choose to read this genre. And I was just wondering if you had ever had to justify why you chose to move into the romance genre as a writer.
Well, at my very first book signing, I was with fellow author Jill Monroe, and we had a woman come over to the table and pick up one of the books, and she set it down, and she said, "This isn't one of those trashy romance novels, is it?" So we have had our share of that. But, I think there's something so powerful and beautiful about finding love, and so I'm not embarrassed about that at all.
That's fantastic.
Thanks, Cindy. Danielle?
It's my turn?
Yeah.
Yep, go for it.
Yep.
Gena, I just wanted to know how you came up with the concept for the Lords of the Underworld.
I had
put a lot of research behind it.
The idea, I had lots of ideas I was playing with, and I would send them to my agent, and she would tell me, that's not the one, that's not the one. And so with the Lords, it was really just a compilation of several ideas that I had, and just about a group of warriors, immortal, one man being killed every night, only to awaken the next morning, and so it was figuring out why that happened, how it happened, and that's where the Lords of the Underworld kind of sprang from. And then I've already forgotten the second part of your question. I'm sorry. What was it?
The research.
Oh, the research. Really, I just got online. I Google a lot. I talk to my friends about what they know, and that's really it. I took some mythology, took the ideas I liked, and discarded the rest, and then made up everything else.
Very cool. Can I ask just another tiny little question? How do you pronounce Pandora's box in the other?
Demoniac.
Oh, thank you. Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle. Kate?
Hi, Gena. Thanks so much for joining us. You're so prolific. You write so many books and so many different series, with different voices and different levels, I suppose, of darkness. Do you write them at the same time? Do you find that might help with writer's block? I suppose what's your process for managing to get so many books out so often?
Well, I don't like to write 2 or 3 or even 4 books at the same time, but with my schedule, I've had to kind of juggle different books in different stages. Like in the last week alone, I've done a proposal for Lords of the Underworld, and I did copy edits for the first Otherworld Assassins book. I'm doing revisions for the Angels of the Dark book. So I know there was one more thing I was doing, but I'm a little scattered, so I'm blanking. But I try to do a certain amount of pages on each a day and go from there.
Do you ever get confused between your characters? Who's falling in love with who and who's angry at the other person?
No, once I was writing a Lords of the Underworld book, and I found out the characters from my Atlantis novel, so that had to be addressed.
Okay. Thank you, Kate. Great questions, everyone, so far. I have a question. Looking through your website, Gena, I found that your Lords of the Underworld have been made into Japanese manga. How cool is that?
Oh, yeah, I was really excited about that.
Does anyone else have another question? Raise your hand or nod your head. Okay, Amy, off you go.
I make the Tales of the Extraordinary Girl. Are you going to be doing a third book or continuing that series in any way?
I do have an idea for a third, but nothing is currently in the works. I would like to write it.
Fantastic. I'll wait.
I actually just found this when I was reading up on Wicked Knights, and a question that often gets asked at book club is, with the Lords of the Underworld, how will Tauren find, because he's the keeper of disease and he can't touch anyone, how will he find a HEA? He's happily ever after. So there was a scene in here, I don't want to spoil anything, but is there possibly a little hint in Wicked Knights as to how that might happen?
There was a hint in The Darkest Seduction, and you'll see big changes for Tauren in King's, which comes out next year.
Cool, thanks.
When next year is Kane's book coming out?
Early 2013. No, I'm sorry, mid 2013. We just came up with the title, but he can't share it yet. I gotta get permission first.
So we can't know.
Not yet.
Do you have any particular, I suppose, celebration rituals that you do whenever you get a new New York Times bestseller?
I do a little dance around the house, and we usually just go out to eat. So I'm really a homebody.
Gena, I don't know about you, but when I have to go and do something in my job that I find particularly challenging, I have a favourite outfit that I put on. Do you have any sort of rituals if you're finding it challenging? And I'm also quite envious of anyone who can do their job in their pyjamas. So is that something that you like to do?
I'm actually, this is my pajama pants. So I do work in my pajamas, and that's really the only clothes that I wear.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need a job like that.
I love a good pajama day.
Yes. So it's a party on top and business on the bottom, or vice versa.
Another quick question, sorry. Do you have any plans to maybe visit Australia and come out and do a tour of any kind?
I really don't have any travel plans at the moment. The publishers are usually the ones who decide my tour schedules, and nothing has been in the works yet. But I would love to visit. It's on my list of must-visit places.
Maybe not today. It's kind of a really miserable day in Melbourne.
I agree completely with that, Kate.
It's even miserable in sunny Brisbane, so.
We have the sun here in Sydney.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful today.
Yeah, well, you're getting it all. Gena, who do you like to read? Who's sort of your go-to authors?
The authors that I like to read? I am a huge fan of Roxanne St. Clair. And I just read, let me grab it. I just read Pushing the Limits.
Oh, I saw that.
It's wonderful.
Oh, lovely.
I didn't just read it, but I read it a little while back, so I could, and there's my quote on the back because it's such a wonderful book.
I have the Australian version.
It's a wonderful book. I love Cressley Cole. I love Jill Monroe, Louisa Edwards, Kristen Painter. So many wonderful authors out there. Nalini Singh is fantastic. Karen Monning, J.R. Ward.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on. There are so many fabulous ladies out there.
All right, I've got a question about the Alice in Zombieland book.
Yes.
How did you come up with the idea?
I actually had the title first, and I was on the phone with Cressley Cole, and I mentioned the title. I was just teasing her about one of my adult books. I said, I'm going to name it Alice in Zombieland. And she kind of paused, and she said, okay, you have to write that book. So I just sat down and started trying to figure out what a book with that title would need and what the characters would be like, and then the whole story just started to form.
That's great. When will it be published or out?
It comes out September 25th.
I think.
Yay!
Right, is a day that one of your books gets launched? Is that also a day that will make you leave the house, or is that not important enough to warrant?
Used to I would be chained to the computer because I would be watching for the first slew of reviews, and watching my online rankings. But now I try not to obsess about that stuff. I've cut myself off, and I just work as usual and just enjoy the rest of my day.
Do you ever read your own reviews, or do you just sort of leave that aside as not necessarily something that needs to be in your consciousness?
Well, I used to read all of them, but they do sort of, they can weigh you down, and you kind of have this little voice saying, oh, well, what will readers think of this? And maybe you shouldn't write that, and maybe you should go in this direction. So I really had to stop for that reason, so I could write the stories the way that they needed to be told, or the way that I saw them, rather than the way I thought everybody would like them. So I try not to read them. I will occasionally, but not often.
All right. Anyone else with a question?
Do you have any other series in the works other than the Alice in Wonderland series, the first book, which is already on pre-order for me? Do you have anything else planned?
The only other new series that I have coming out is Otherworld Assassins, and it's a spin-off of my Alien Huntress series. But other than that, no. I'm juggling too much already.
Gena, has mythology been an interest for you throughout your life, or is it a new interest that you've developed as you've gotten into romance writing?
I'm vaguely interested in certain stories growing up, but especially more, I liked fairy tales more, to be honest. But yeah, so I guess it was just something after I had grown up.
How much input do you have in the covers of your books? Because let me tell you, some of them are just gorgeous.
I don't actually have much input. They ask for my ideas, and I will give them. I helped with the idea for the last Good Night cover, which I think is just gorgeous. But mainly, they'll show me concepts, and I'll pick my favorite, and we'll go from there. But the publisher really has done such a wonderful job with my covers.
Well, I agree, because that's just gorgeous. Can I just point it out there? Hello, that's very, very nice.
I was thrilled when I saw that cover.
And so were we.
Gena, do you ever think of writing outside of paranormal into, I don't know, a contemporary romance, or maybe if you like romantic suspense a lot, a romantic suspense novel?
I've written 2 contemporary novels, Animal Instincts and Catchmate, and I had a lot of fun with them, and I've actually been thinking really strongly about giving the contemporaries another shot soon. They were a lot of fun.
But not romantic suspense?
Not romantic suspense, really. I mean, I've had suspenseful elements in my other books, but it's not my favorite thing to write. And strangely enough, I'd really love to one day write an inspirational. So.
The bleeding of the characters between your series and Cresley Cole's Immortal After Dark series, was that something that you had planned for in advance for a while, or is it something that just happened?
It just happened. We were talking on the phone about how wonderful it would be if our characters could get together, maybe have a party, lots of laughs, maybe some bloodshed. And we wanted to know who would hook up with who and that kind of thing. And so it just kind of sprang from there. Her wonderful Nyx decided to visit my lord.
It was something original.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
We might do one more question before we end the broadcast.
Okay, I have one.
Go.
Okay, I was just wondering, how did you and Jill come up with the idea for Dating the Undead, which is kind of like a paranormal Cosmo magazine?
You know, the publisher actually called us and said that they had this idea about something along those lines, and so we put our heads together and just had the best time coming up with some articles and things like that. So that one was so much fun.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to read as well, with pick up lines and immorstrology and things like that.
Yeah, I'm so glad it was fun to read too.
They did very clever outtakes on the ads as well. They were very, very good.
Thank you.
Anyone else with a question? Danielle or Cindy?
I was going to ask if or how we go about getting a advanced reading copy of, the next Lords of the Underworld or number 2 in the Alice in Zombieland series.
I've only written the first 3 chapters of the next Lords of the Underworld book, and I haven't even started the second Alice yet. That'll be the next book I tackle.
I try.
We'll give you our email address.
You might have a fight on your hands there, Gena.
I do give away copies on my website lots of times, so just be on the lookout.
Sure. All right, if anyone hasn't got anything else to say or a question to ask, we might end it there. Yes? Everyone nod your heads if you agree. Thank you very much, Gena, for joining us today, and thank you for sharing all your worlds with us. As avid romance readers, we appreciate that quite a lot. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks very much
Gena.
for the hours of entertainment.
Thank you, Gena.